Is coding dead? Now with AI that helps create code from scratch, low code tools that can potentially replace building apps, and no code tools that requires no developers to make amazing app.
Well, that's a good question, and this is what this video is all about. We're going to be diving deep into this topic, exploring four distinct approaches: code, low code, no code, and coding with AI.
So join us as we explore each approach and attempt to answer the question on everyone's mind. Is coding become irrelevant? Or is it being reinvented? So let's get started. So, traditionally code, basically writing programming languages to create web applications and mobile applications. And most of the time you have to learn software development, basics of coding. So Derek, maybe you can share like what's the biggest advantage of learning how to code?
I think that's a good point because with code, low code, no code, and code with AI, everything is built upon code. So without understanding code, you will be limited in your ability to go far and explore your potentials with using these tools. You will always fundamentally be capped.
Yeah, especially with code, even if you were to not create your own applications, the chances of you being a software developer, learning how to code is actually pretty high because the demand is there. Get a high salary job, even without any degree. Just learning to code itself, it's already very high skill that's in high demand. Learning to code is not easy, but it pays the big bucks. Even if you're not creating your own applications, getting a job itself, you're already starting at an above average
Correct.
salary.
Understanding how to code allows you to transfer your skills. Like whatever you build is not wasted. What I'm saying is you want to compound your efforts rather than just splitting it up into few different segments that may not lead to anything.
So I agree that when you learn to code, you can transfer your skills from one coding platform, for example, JavaScript. You probably know how to use a lot of tools, right? If you want to be a developer, your skills can be transferable to low code, no code, or even a combination of both. You need to understand how to use the different functions of it. But in the end, if you know how, as a developer, you can build what is this thing called app within the Google Sheets itself. So nowadays, people are integrating AI
Right.
into Google Sheets. And
Right.
that's an amazing way for you to combine both your knowledge of code with a low code tool. Derek, have you ever tried low code tools before?
So yes, I have been exploring low-code tools for a very long time, and I can share a few. Airtable, Coda, two tools that I use pretty much on a daily basis, and I strongly recommend it to everybody. If you're running a tech company or a software business and your business relies entirely on the software to make money, you will need to have that flexibility and the freedom to pivot and build new features,
Yes.
innovate using code. But if you're using like an internal, let's say an analytics tracking system, right, for your to understand your marketing numbers, an internal team tracking system, right, or HR system where you manage your staffs, those kind of things, you should just low code it. But when it comes to your main selling point of your product, that should be done in code.
If you were to build it in code, it might take quite a while for you to create that whole thing. But Coda or other similar tools or local tools similar to Coda allows you to build with templates, which I think is amazing, right? With templates, you can connect with a database, you have already a form, and then you can just publish it.
I think to build MVPs, definitely, right?
Yes.
It's doable, but to a certain extent only, because the amount of customizability is still fundamentally very
Yeah,
limited.
that's true.
Because I
That's
think
where,
Haris
yeah.
and I, we use Coda a
Mm.
lot. For those of you who wants to learn how to code for free, we have the Explorer Lab by Sigma School that Haris and I put in a lot of time to build, and we built that entirely in Coda. So you can check that out at explorer.sigmaschool.co. That's where we explored it, and as much as we loved it, that it also gave us quite a bit of headache at some point to try and tweak things here and there that
Yeah.
we wouldn't have faced. It's all small issues that we wouldn't have faced if we coded from scratch, but because of the superior time management that we have, we decided to go with this, and these are some cons that we have to deal with. But because
Exactly.
Explorer Lab is our free thing and all that, so we're
Yeah.
fine.
When you were to have code versus low code, code is essentially you're a developer, and developer are very expensive, right?
Yes,
With low code, you can pay maybe $10 per month,
that's
and
correct.
you're able to build an MVP or an internal tool without a developer. You just need
Mm.
to learn how things works. Yes, there's a bit of coding here and there. That's why coding is pretty important. In the end, you will take much faster than if you were to code from scratch. And at the same time, I think this is what a lot of people don't really see is that when you were to have errors in your code, it's a pain in the ass. You take a long time to release your fixed version of your app. But with Coda or Airtable, everything is already quite robust and you don't really see much errors. They already built on things that you don't have to worry about servers and all the services that you have to connect. They already have integrations built for you.
Yeah, like security,
Yes,
servers,
yes,
like
logins, all that.
scalability, like a
Yep,
lot of this kind of like things that generally we don't really care about. They let them settle it for you. It's fine,
exactly.
right? You
Yep.
just focus on building your features. And by the way, like when it comes to coding as well, low code, some low code tools can code a lot, right? So it's a
Yeah.
spectrum also. Some low code
Yep.
tools, not so much. So I think it still depends. Some local tools can be used by completely non-beginners with a bit of computational thinking skills, but it just requires you to debug a lot. But some of it still requires you to hire a developer, a part-time freelancer rather than a full-time developer.
I would say, yeah. So I would say low code will be something that, if you really are on a tight budget and maybe you have some coding or computational thinking, then it actually can be like MVP for those who don't know, minimum viable product or your version 1 of your idea. Because usually your first version of your idea is not the best idea, right? So you always need to repeat, right? That's why low code will be something that you might want to explore. What if you really don't want to code anything at all? So that's where we move on to the next section, which is no code tools. For no code, I believe the most popular one is Notion. So Notion is a very common no code tool that people have
I think for an example wouldn't be Notion, because Notion is like a note-taking app. When people talk about no-code tools, usually they're referring to things that they can build websites with. I think a better example will be WordPress, Shopify, and a new and very powerful one is Bubble. You can build Airbnb from scratch with Bubble, and Bubble is the one that gives you those. If you want to compare coding versus no-code, Bubble is a very good competitor to no code.
For no code, I would say Bubble. I have used it and I also have taught Bubble before as well. Bubble has really no code at all, but a tool to learn the tool, and it's a learning process as well. There are startups that have started with Bubble, but I believe they have transitioned to actual coding because Bubble itself has its own limits as well. We are saying that with Bubble, it is great to have your first version.
So I think with Bubble, it's great and all, right? But people tend to move away from Bubble after a while. For me, I think my biggest concern is the unknowns. Because using a tool like Bubble, there's a learning curve to it. It's not as easy as you think it is. If you learn how to use it and you spend 3 months in building this software yourself, if you spend some time building it and a crucial feature that you need, you cannot build. Developers who built this tool has all the control. Another problem was the no-code tools tend to own your data, which means you're tied down to them. They're going to do everything in their power to make it difficult for you to migrate away from them. Because if they make it easy, everyone's going to leave them. But everyone who has the money will just build it from scratch themselves. For me, I almost never use no-code tools for innovative stuff. Things that you have to build on agile mode where you decide the features. You don't want to be stopped by technical issues. Most of the time, anything that requires any startup, just learn the code. To learn how to use Bubble takes 3 months. To learn the code, it takes 3 months. Go and learn the code straight away.
When you learn how to code, you become a developer and your skills is still in high demand. Versus after 3 months, you want to find a job. Not a lot of companies are hiring Bubble developers. For example, Thunkable is another no-code tool. It actually helps you to learn coding because it's block-based. So you actually learn computational thinking when you are building that tool. And Thunkable is a very popular tool that I've used to teach coding and mobile app development. I would say that code will be the best, but if you really can't do it, there are other tools that can help you learn at the same time build something. And coming to the trendy topic, code with AI.
Tech grows exponentially when AI comes in. So I can't predict the future. Maybe in 100 years, I don't know that number. I think that day will come, just not in our lifetime. If that day comes, you need to be able to customize a lot of things. AI knows us based on a network of data that they gathered from the world. You may have your unique circumstances and you need to communicate these things to the AI. A lot of startups requires unique ideas. As an example, Airbnb is a very unique idea. You can't just tell AI that I want to build a platform that allows people to stay together. Because number one, when Airbnb first launched, AI has never seen something like Airbnb before. They will not be able to build everything from scratch. You need to learn how to break it down step by step and apply the concepts and apply those code into your own systems. Being able to communicate well and break problems down is a trait of a developer.
Yeah. Low code is a tool. No code is a tool. Code is a tool. Code with AI is also another tool. AI is literally just a tool. A tool will not be useful without any users. Nowadays, there is companies out there who wants to hire prompt engineers. There's a new job out there where you are very good at creating prompts for certain situations. For example, a situation that I always face is how to create coding exercises. And I managed to create a coding exercises to my needs. Doesn't mean when you were to use an AI tool, for example, ChatGPT, it will give exactly what you need because it's very generic. Even if it's able to create code for you, who is able to understand the code? The AI just guesses the code as accurate as possible from the data that it has. But
Right.
in the end, who's going to implement the code to the existing the
Or-
developer?
or-
The answer I would say right now, I would say there's even more demand for developers because now you have AI tools. Who's going to read the tools itself? With Help Copilot, another AI tool to write code, it is an essential tool for people who have access to that because your productivity as
That's
a developer increase so much. When you learn to code, learn to know how to use the AI tool as well, because it will not only help you differentiate yourself with other developers, it will make you 10x engineer.
Imagine if you're a very physically unfit person, you're very obese, and I give you a knife. And I say, use this knife to defend yourself. I'll use this knife to go and kill someone for me. You can't even move. That knife is not going to help you much. But the same knife I give to a trained assassin, this assassin can probably kill 50 guys in a room. Just 1v50 kill everyone. So the tool is the same, but the user is very different. And you can look at it this way. Coding with AI is just a tool. And a developer, if you are a developer right now, you need to learn how to code with AI because it turns you into that skilled assassin. You can code 50 times faster than someone who doesn't use AI. But if you're just someone who doesn't know how to code and you're just throwing blind prompts, build me Airbnb, and then you get some code, and by chance you manage to actually deploy something, which good job by the way, and you got it done, you're going to maintain it, right? Your customers are going to ask for more features. How far are you going to go with this?
So basically, like in a sense, whether it's low code, no code, AI, or code itself, right? You still need to be a trained developer itself because with developer skills, development skills, computational skills, and experience, maybe your supervisor or founder asks you, we need an MVP. Then you'd be like, oh, let's use a low code tool. We can finish in 1 month and or maybe 1 week or even 1 day, right? And then we see whether there is traction within it. If not, then we don't waste a lot of engineering time because engineering time is very expensive. So with this, not only you become a developer, you become thought leader, people who can give advice according to the different experiences with the tools that you have experienced before. Because if you were to just say everything needs coding, then that's not a good developer because you're not solving the problem with the best solution.
I don't know how old you are today, fellow viewer, right? But you're going to have probably 20 years old. Maybe you're 20 years old, maybe you're 30, maybe you're 40. I don't know, but you're going to have many more years to live.
Yeah.
So, what it's taking 3 months to learn how to code? Learning how to code makes you a better. The other options, what coder? We have coding with AI, we have low code, we have no code. Being able to code makes you a better person to do every other thing out there in the other three options. You become better at using no code and low code tools. So what's 3 months to you? Just take that 3 months, 3 to 4 months, upskill yourself, become a coder, and that's it.
Exactly.
Don't look back. Become a better version of yourself. Like why? It's doable. We have students doing it. We see people do it all the time. That's not just us. Other countries, other boot camps everywhere around the world. It's a new way of learning right now.
Exactly.
And I would say it's just 3 months. And in our school, we say that if you don't get a job and you don't become a software developer after 3 months, you get your money back. So I'm like, hey, why not?
Before we summarize, I just want to share one experience during my teaching experience in a financial institution. And their training program is actually teaching them not code, but to use like RPA it as an automation tool for mainly Microsoft Windows user. And these companies are like forcing these employees to learn how to use these tools because they realize that if they don't use it, they might not be as relevant as in the future because a lot of things are moving towards the idea of, or not idea, or the future of everything being in tech, whether it's in finance, whether it's in tech itself, whether it's in healthcare, all of that. All of the industries are being, in a sense, being techified, right? It implements tech because it makes things a lot more faster, more efficient, and less cost, right? So it's actually better for all the industries to actually implement tech itself. So I would say, even if you don't want to be a developer, even if you know how to develop or learn the coding skills, you can definitely apply to any job that you might be in the future, whether you're in finance, whether you're in healthcare, right? Because all of these are very important because this is where the world is eventually will be into as well. To summarize, we have went through the 4 tools that we've discussed, which is code, low code, no code, and code with AI. And I think I can speak for both of us that eventually you just need to learn how to code, because in Singapore, primary schools are already, or people at the age of 12 is already learning the basics of coding already. So if that doesn't make you wake up, I don't know what is. But yes, so we hope you found our conversation insightful and thought-provoking.
Absolutely, Harris. In a fast-paced industry like software development, it's crucial to keep learning and adapting. What may seem groundbreaking today may honestly become standard practice tomorrow.
Exactly. So if you enjoyed this video and would like more of this kind of content, please and subscribe on this video to find out more about us and also other videos that we've done. And also please give us a thumbs up.
We're really looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the subject, so feel free to comment below or join the conversation on our social media platforms.
Exactly. So thank you for watching this video, and remember to always keep exploring, because the world is changing faster every single day. Until the next episode, stay curious and keep learning.